Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow the United States government. Do you still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? Does anybody else see a problem here? If the government has nothing to hide, why are they so afraid to answer a few questions? This story does not add up. Listen to me, listen to your pain. Don't listen to anything they say.
Scared you?
Can I help you?
You're new here. Thought we could be friends. I could use some new friends. People around here can be mean.
I'm sorry.
You know, there was a big mass murder-suicide here like a year ago.
Is that right?
Uh-huh. Crazy stuff around here. You think 9/11 was an inside job?
What?
11. The first plane that hit the first tower was Flight 11.
Okay.
11 is the first number which can't be counted on fingers. Well, not human fingers.
Hey, Mick. Don't understand you're welcome.
Crazy stuff around here. You think 9/11 was an inside job? Crazy stuff around here. Crazy stuff around here. Crazy stuff around here. Crazy stuff around here. You think 9/11 was an inside job? Well, I'll stop by and say hi again tomorrow, friend.
There it is. That's a videotape replay. Here it is. That's a videotape replay. Here it is. That's a videotape replay. Here it is. That's a videotape replay.
The day comes when you've had enough. We want to die. We need to.
That's your problem? You've been alive too long.
For a few to be immortal, many must die.
What the hell's that supposed to mean?
You really don't know, do you? Everyone can't live forever. Where would we put them? Do you think taxes and prices go up the same day in the ghetto? Cost of living keeps rising to make sure people keep dying. But the truth is, there's more than enough.
Julia Roberts, sorry, the late Julia Roberts. There's one more star in heaven. 9/11 was an inside job. Good night, everybody. 9/11 was an inside job. 9/11 was an inside job. 9/11 was an inside job.
For you to go places in half the time it takes to travel by car. For some trips, it'll be faster than flying, without the pat down.
It's the sort of security we've seen a lot of since 9/11 at places like airports and now here at the bus station.
Specific, credible, recent threats that are causing what some believe to be these invasive screening tactics.
Robin, we know the threats are real, and we've seen this latest information coming out of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula.
Remind Americans why we now check our liquids. It's because a mother was willing to blow up the baby and the entire plane with the liquids.
Right. The Department of Homeland Security has not been forthcoming with the public about the true extent of radiation risk.
Advanced imaging technology would not have discovered the type of bomb that Umar Farouk Abdul-Muttalib had secreted in his underwear.
Well, I think reasonable people may disagree on that.
We are not retaining, we are not keeping. They're not designed for that at all.
The TSA is reiterating today that although its machines can store images when they're being tested, quote, all functionality to store, export, or print images is disabled.
Throughout history and in every culture, there is a basic precept of law. that if someone has been caught lying before,
what's the difference between lying and misleading Congress?
It all has to do with your state of mind and whether or not you had the requisite intent to come up with something that can be considered perjury or a lie.
you should not believe anything else that they tell you.
It would not apply to those who are here illegally. It's not true.
And when someone has been confirmed to be a congenital or serial liar, you are a fool to believe anything they say.
It has been months, and you tell me that you're not, you weren't doing it because of an IG investigation. Well, let's go through a few questions here, Madam.
Well, wait just a minute.
Let me finish my question.
Wait just a minute.
Madam Secretary, let me finish my question.
Go ahead. That insinuation is not accurate.
You know about the TSA and their penchant for molesting children, raping women in parking lots, robbing luggage, stealing cash out of wallets, beating people up, and then lying about them. You know about their penchant for child porn and the incredible statistical analysis that we've seen that they are predisposed to engage in crime. No kidding. Who else wants a job groping men, women, and children all day and making old ladies who can't walk crawl out of wheelchairs and ripping colostomy bags off of people's sides? Who else wants to abuse people all day but criminals and control freaks? But in this report, I want to look at just some of their lies because they're constantly lying. And the prostitute traitor stream media that serves the globalist and these brown shirts of the federal takeover need to all be called on the carpet. Now, let's just look at the latest lie that came out today. The Tennessean newspaper reports Nashville airport video doesn't show irate Senator Rand Paul. And they link to the video, and there is Paul being completely calm with the police. They're now also having to admit that he was detained for more than an hour and a half, as he said he was, which under common law is a custodial arrest. So there you have it. Within minutes of this being put out by Ron Paul on his Twitter, the New York Times talked to the TSA and said he wasn't even stopped for 5 minutes. He's a liar, and he was irate. And the police put in their report, part of this culture of lying, that he was irate. All lies by a group of people that lie and lie and lie some more. And then, of course, lie some more. And we have the White House siding with the TSA. We have Rush Limbaugh coming out and saying, oh, his dad's like a Muslim terrorist. You know, let start the groping. You know, after all, he flies on private jets. But let's look at some of the TSA lies that affect us all. Radiation. They've had studies back in the late 1990s from these same systems. That's why they weren't deployed all over the world. These things have been around for decades, that they're massively linked to different types of cancer. So Johns Hopkins and many other prestigious universities come out and put out reports in the last few years saying, our studies show this stuff can give you cancer. I mean, the scans are so powerful, you can see the skeleton bones in the fingers. I mean, it's high-powered. And all these studies come out, so the TSA comes out and says, Johns Hopkins says it's totally safe. And the head of Johns Hopkins radiology department comes out and says, our study actually says the opposite. And the TSA doesn't correct their mistake because it's not a mistake. They are a pack of criminal, out of control, 10th Amendment violating and 4th Amendment violating goons who are now setting up checkpoints on the highways of America. And that's why the feds don't care how much anger or how many tens of billions in tourism the TSA destroys from foreigners that won't come here and Americans like myself that won't travel because I won't have my family groped, because they're getting ready to be all over the United States. They're going to hire your local police, it's been announced. They're going to run checkpoints, mobile vans. It's already happening. So you think you're just not going to fly and get away with this? Oh, sorry. There's plenty of people that couldn't hold a job at McDonald's that are going to be officer and agent TSA. And your wife's in deep trouble. And your children, they're in even deeper trouble. Psychologists have come out and pointed out that the TSA groping of children is actually training them that when pedophiles touch them to test and see if they've been acclimated for rape, that they will submit to the touching and not say no. And what's the TSA say? They say, we don't think that's the case. And again, lie to the public and say everything's okay. and claim, despite the fact that there are hundreds of videos and photos showing them taking babies' diapers off and going in the pants of small children, they come out and say over and over again for 3 years, we do not go in the clothes or even through the clothes and touch genitals of under 12. And then hundreds of videos come out and they say, okay, we're going to stop. Last time they said that was in November of 2010. And continued it over and over again and said again, we won't do it. Continued it. Lying, lying, lying. First they say it's not groping and sexual assault. Then they say they're not doing it. Then they say they're going to stop doing it and continue it over and over again. Lying about radiation, lying about groping, lying about the sexual assault, lying about the statistics on how many of their people are caught engaged in every crime you can imagine. But then you see bizarre statements on the TSA blog and in their press releases saying there's hardly any complaints. Why? Hardly anyone is against this, and we only pat down 2%, which is a total lie. I fly all the time. I'm forced to as a journalist. I fly a lot. My crew flies a lot. And in hundreds of flights total, we've estimated that at least a third of the people where we fly are groped, including most people who are put through the naked body scanners. So they're lying to you about radiation. They're lying to you about groping and sexual assault. They're lying and saying they're going to stop doing it to children. Or they say they never did it to children. Or they say they didn't go in the pants of Miss USA. And then she goes and gets the video and they admit they did it. But let's continue. A few months ago, a whole bunch of 85 and 90-year-old women, many of which couldn't even get out of their wheelchairs, started reporting that they were taken behind closed doors and made to take all their clothes off. And the TSA came out and said, you're lying, we don't do that. And then so many people went public that they said, well, we do take you behind closed doors and take your clothes off. We don't call it a strip search. And then even in their apology, the women who've been assaulted by them say it's all lies. I mean, it's lies within lies within lies within lies. But what do you expect from a federal brown shirt goon force meant to dog train us and break our will to basically live like maximum security prisoners? They're coming to malls, highway checkpoints, they're already there, sporting games. We're all being trained to have government put their hands on us, and TSA is now training for force inoculation. Federal grants to local police, they're training them for force inoculation. That's why they're doing this. That's why they're lying to the American people, because we're seen as an enemy, and you lie to an enemy in warfare. This is a foreign banking cartel occupying the United States, and the TSA is their shock troops to bureaucratically go out there and train us to accept this. In just the last week, Homeland Security has come out and said, we're not just about terror. We're going to hire your local police. We're going to certify who can get jobs anywhere. We're going to set up checkpoints in your town. We're going to have spies all over Twitter and Facebook. We're going to have citizen spies on the ground recording what you say politically. They are recreating classical, hardcore despotism. This is 200 proof evil. This is certified as bad as it gets. It's conscious takeover. Oh, and also they said that the machines could not physically hold images.
The machines are not set to store images. They're not set to transmit images.
And then we got the manuals sent to us by insiders that said that when they test the machines, they look to see if they can see the genitals, and that is the marker they look for to make sure that the machine is tuned right, and that indeed all the images are saved, not just at airports, but at courthouses, and have been leaked and shared, and they pin them up on the wall, and when they see a good-looking woman that's come out, they put them through them. So they lied about saving the images. There have been cases in England where they come up to famous film stars and ask them to sign scans of their own genitals.